Hello, welcome to another episode of This, That, and the Other. We're getting close to Christmas, and we're actually 6 days away. I was reading up on football. I like to do that. I was reading a book about college history of college football championships, and they were talking about a 1941 Plainfield Teachers College, small college that racked up an incredible season of victories. But a lot of people were thinking, who is this team and where was the college? No one had ever heard of it before. What I found, a man named Morris Newberger, a partner at the Wall Street firm of Newberger, Loeb and Company, was a big sports fan. He used to read football scores listed in Sunday papers for small colleges such as Slippery Rock State Teachers College, and he was like, do these schools really exist? So he wondered if he could invent a team to fill up space. So the idea came up, what would happen if he phoned in for a score for a college that was definitely fictional? Would it get printed? He decided to find out, so on a Saturday in the fall of 1941, he picked up the phone and called the sports desks of various New York City newspapers to report that the non-existent Plainfield Teachers College of New Jersey had just beaten Winona, also non-existent, 27-3. To his amusement, the score of that game appeared in the major newspapers the next day. The success of the hoax made him decide that Plainfield Teachers College needed to complete its football season, so for the next few weeks he kept calling the sports desk of the papers every Saturday, and sure enough, scores for the Plainfield T would appear in papers the next day. Plainfield was also victorious, crushing its opponents in lopsided wins. He created another non-existent star halfback named Johnny Chung, a 225-pound half Chinese, half Hawaiian player who boosted his strength by consuming huge portions of wild rice at halftime. Those details also made their way into sports columns. What he was doing, though, his deceptive plan didn't last very long. It was exposed within a month. Sports writers and the public and the Plainfield's teachers subsequently became the most popular non-existent football team in America. The team continues to be remembered to this day as a classic sports hoax. Some reporter was trying to do a story on the college, and a player could not find the college, and that's kind of how it was revealed that this was a non-existent school to begin with. Well, reading further, began on the evening of October 25th, 1941. Not in September, as it was reported. He called the sports desk of the New York Herald Tribune, told the reporter who answered the phone that he wanted to report a small college football score. Plainfield Teachers 27, Winona 3. Man that he talked to was Harold Rosenthal, and Harold Rosenthal said, Plainfield's Teachers, that a New Jersey school? Yes, Newberger responded, and that was it. Rosenthal later explained why he wasn't suspicious. He said it was not uncommon for smaller schools to telephone their schools because of lack of telegraph facilities. There are also many small schools taking up football and dropping it continually. Teachers' colleges were in the ban of this respect. Part of the joke was that teachers' colleges were often predominantly female, which made it unusual for one to have such a powerhouse football team. Although apparently Newberger chose to situate his fictional college in Plainfield because that's where his secretary was from. After phoning the Herald Tribune, Newberger then called the New York Times, New York United Press, and the Associated Press From each organization received positive response. A friend in Philadelphia, Alex Dannenbaum, phoned in the scores to the Philadelphia Record. From an article from November 8, 1941, Johnny Chung, Plainfield Teachers Chinese sophomore halfback, has accounted for 57 of the 98 points scored by his unbeaten and untied team in 4 starts. If the New Jersey Dons don't watch out, he may pop out in Chiang Kai-shek's offensive department one of these days. Newburgh managed to get Plainfield's scores in the papers for 3 consecutive weeks, so after defeating Winona on October 25th, it continued its undefeated season by crushing Randolph Tech on November 1st in an away game 35-0, followed up with a win against Ingersoll on November 8th, 13-0. By this time, too many people had heard about what was going on. Newsberger himself was talking freely about it with his friends. Someone, unknown identity, having decided the joke had gone far enough, telephoned the Herald Tribune and gave them this message. I'll give you fellows a tip. There ain't no such college as Plainfield Teachers. A bunch of fellows down on Wall Street are kidding you. The hoax was traced back to Newberger, who, when confronted, immediately confessed, although he begged to be allowed to face the season, explaining that Plainfield was set to face Appalachian Tech that week, followed by Harmony Teachers for their homecoming game on Thanksgiving Day. I'm kind of getting a laugh out of this. Newberger revealed that he had even seen the Harmony game in his sleep, and following its undefeated season, Plainfield might have headed to the Blackboard Bowl, the fictitious championship game for teams from small colleges. But having failed to convince the Herald Tribune to allow him to finish the season, he was forced to call off last 2 scheduled games, Appalachian Tech and Harmony Teachers College on Thanksgiving Day. Among those thrown for a loss was John Chung, who has accounted for 69 of Plainfield's 117 points. I even found that their complete 1941 season. September 27th, they beat Benson Institute 20-0. Beat Scott 12-0 October 4th. October 11th, they beat Chesterton 24-0. Plainfield versus Fox, no known score. Plainfield versus Winona 27-3. And then Randolph Tech 35-0. Ingersoll 13-0. Versus Appalachian Normal, no known score. And Harmony Teachers Homecoming 40-27. Several other games were occasionally mentioned in articles about the hoax, although it's not evident that they would have been played. Perhaps they were the Philadelphia games reported by Dannenbaum. Plainfield versus St. Joseph 6-0. Plainfield versus Regency 21-12. This is kind of interesting story. Hoax, just making up a fictitious football team and getting into the sports page of the papers. I got a little bit of a laugh out of that one. And anyway, looking for more ideas on shows to do about history, especially obscure aspects of history. And this is definitely very obscure. I had never heard of anything like that. I've been reading this book, Champions of College Football. I think when I was on vacation in Missouri, back in like 1983 maybe. I may have bought this in a bookstore if I remember right. And I'm finally getting around to reading books that I've got, and quite a few of them are football books, and very interesting to read. This one goes from the beginning of football, college football, from the late 1800s to, well, I guess around the time of 1980s, I suppose, 70s. I haven't finished reading the book yet. I've gotten to the World War. Just got through the World War II years, and the next chapter is about the tenure of Frank Lee. He is the coach of Notre Dame, so I'm going to keep reading this book. Very, very interesting read. But that's what mentioned that fictitious football team. I had never heard of anything like that before, but I thought it was kind of funny. It was kind of a funny joke. Interesting how it got into the papers, but like I said, that reporter was trying to find the place and couldn't find the college. That kind of interesting. But like I said before, looking for ideas on shows to do, shows about preserving history, but obscure aspects of history. That being said, like, subscribe, share, and I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. If I don't get another show in here before Christmas Day, which I might actually do it. But anyway, that being said, thanks for watching.